Okay. So at the start of Wally, we've got fucking how does it start? It's like I think it starts at like a Walmart or something. It's like some sort of shopping thing, and Wally's coming out of it because he was picking up trash, and then he brings it over to his big old trash pile, and then he puts it down, and we see all the other dead Wallys as he's trolleying along, uh, and as he's going throughout the place collecting garbage and other knickknacks that he finds interesting. Uh, he then goes back to his little home that he made, and we're like, oh wow, he's got cool stuff and like a bunch of knickknacks that are either A, still useful, or B, just interesting to this little robot. And then he watches an old timey movie, and we're like, oh cool, he understands things and he can recognize the peoples on the screens. That's cool. And then he continues doing that, and then cut to big fucking thing comes down to Earth, and Wally's like, wow, and then he trolleys his way over there, and then he sees that there's a robot, uh, and he's like, oh wow, look, a robot, and then the robot's like, I'm gonna kill you, and then Wally's like, don't kill me, and then it's like, okay, and then he's like, hey, want to see planet Earth? And robot's like, okay, but fuck you, because robot doesn't like Wally. Uh, Eve, that's its name. So Eve and Wally takes Eve around, and fucking they hit up the town. Wally shows her all the hot spots to hang out at. Uh, and oh right, Wally got the boot before any of that. Before she showed up, the boot has a plant in it. Uh, anyways, Wally goes back and fucking goes shows her the town and shows her his little movie of the people dancing, and all of his things, and then he shows her the boot, and then she reads the boot and she's like, oh wow, it's a living thing, and then she takes it and puts it inside herself and shuts down. Um, and then Wally's like, hey, what the fuck? You're just gonna stand me up like this? I showed you out on the town. And then he's like, it's okay, I'll still hang out with you. And then he hangs out with Eve. Um, and then, yeah, he hangs out with Eve and he like decorates her with Christmas lights like she's a Christmas tree. And then he eventually, Eve, uh, like the ship comes back to pick Eve back up from her trip out onto the town, and Eve starts traveling back towards the ship, but Wally's like, wait, no, don't go. And then he hops on board the ship, I think. Yeah, something like that. Either that or he like is hanging onto the outside of it, and that ship goes to a big boy ship. And the big boy ship is fucking like the main place where all humans live. Uh, And then Wally starts trawling around the big boy ship and meeting all the different people, such as fat people. That's about it. Also some other robots, including a really big Wally that he has to escape from, I think. I think that's a thing, yeah. Then he, uh, what's it? As he's trawling around, Eve delivers the plant, uh, and yeah, that's a thing now. And then Wally goes looking for Eve, and then he's like, "Oh, there she is." Uh, and then Eve is like, "What the fuck, Wally? How are you here?" And Wally's like, "I'm here, babe, 'cause I love you." And then Eve is like, "Well, fuck, dude." And then how do they? Yeah, they dance in space at one point. He has a fire extinguisher, so he's shooting around space, and she can fly, so that's a thing. Um, well, they have their fun, and then the fat captain is like, "Wow, we have a plant now. That's proof that life can survive on Earth. We can go home." And then the AI robot that is in charge of piloting the ship is like, "No, we can't, because humans gave me an order earlier that Earth will never be safe. And as such, it's my job to make sure that we never go back." And then Captain Guy is like, "But that's stupid. We have a chance." And then he's like, "Nope, fuck you." Uh, well, then they have a big fight where uh, AI guy is trying to get Wally and Eve killed and the plant destroyed, but Wally has to get the plant into the big cylinder so that it gets delivered. Yeah, yeah, and because once it gets delivered, it can be analyzed and then it can show proof that life can survive on Earth. So they have a big fight, and Wally gets crushed trying to put the thing into the cylinder because the cylinder goes down and it's got like sort of an outside lip thing, and so he gets crushed beneath the outside lip, and then Eva pulls him out, and she's really sad because she realized that she loved Wally. I think she was getting like her memories deleted or something, and then it's like power of will thing. She overcame it. I think that's what happened. Uh, then uh, sh- Wally's dead at this point. But maybe not because we find out, oh, it wasn't like completely crushed. It was just like one of his like computer chips in him was crushed. But then they're like, well, we can go home now, and I think they killed the AI somehow. I think the fat guy like tore him out of the thing or something like that. She probably shouldn't call him the fat guy. Should probably call him the captain because that's more PC. Uh, anyways, they go back to planet Earth, and then they're like, "Hey, look, it's planet Earth." And then Eve is like, "Okay, I'm gonna go find a new computer chip for Wally so that he can come back to life." And then she goes to his house and finds a computer chip that's compatible, and then she plugs it into him. But then he starts acting like he's just a normal cleaning robot, and he doesn't know anything about the planet Earth. And she shows him some of his stuff, and he tries condensing it into like a little trash cube so that he can put it with the other trash, but then she like smacks him and kisses him, and then he remembers, and then the captain is like, hey, we can rebuild here, we can grow new plants, and we can grow pizza plants. And then the movie ends with like a montage of them showing like hieroglyphs of like them growing food and stuff, and I think that they showed a pizza in that, and that's the end of the movie.
Alright, Sam. When was the last time you'd seen Wally?
Um, it's probably been a few years.
Alright. Stop